Okay, so here we go. This is podcast number 3, and this week we're going to be taking a look at 7th chords. Also stick around till the end, because at the end I'm going to be showing you some exercises that should help you to put all of this together from the first 3 podcasts. Let's do a quick review of chord triads and also take a look at another kind of triad in this short clip. What we're going to see is how triads can be built on the diatonic scale, and that those triads are made up of 2 stacked third intervals, which are either major or minor, and that they appear in different combinations of those. And we'll also see how one particular triad is made up of 2 stacked minor third intervals, and that particular triad is called a diminished triad. What we're doing in this lecture is building a scale of diatonic triads. And what diatonic means is we're going to stay within the notes of the scale. I'm going to build this using the notation. Now, whether you know notation or not, it doesn't really matter. It's very good because it illustrates how these triads are formed. If I put the first note here, we're using the G scale, by the way, which has 1 sharp in it. So if I do this and I count 1, 2, 3, I put the next note there. Then I go 1, 2, 3, and I put the next note there. What we've got here is this shape here. So we're playing, basically this is a G chord. Now we'll go from the next note of the scale, which is A. That's going to be like that, and then go up 1/3. It's going to be like that, and go up another 1/3. It's going to be like that. Notice here you've got, these are the frets now. And we're going along strings 6, 5, and 4. So now if I go to the next note, which is B, and I go like this. Have you noticed how the quality of the chords is changing? Some of them sound like major, some of them sound like minor. If you thought that, then you'd be correct. All right, so let's continue. Go like that. And then so if now we just take a look at the intervals here, we've got 3 and 2. That's a space of 1 fret apart. So just take a look at the 6th and the 5th strings here. Here you've got a 5 and a 3. That's 2 frets apart. Now let's take a look at this one. 7 and 5, 2 frets apart. Here we've got only 1 fret apart between 8 and 7. Okay, we'll look at the next one. 10 to 9 is 1 fret. And then this one, 12 to 10, which is 2 frets. 14 to 12, which is 2 frets. And then here we're back again to 1 fret apart. And what that means is this first interval between the root note of the chord and the third is either a major, in this case, or a minor third, in that case. Now there's one particular different one here, which is, this is actually a diminished. Just take a look at this number here. Between 14 and 12, that's 2. Between 12 and 10, that's another 2, which means that you actually have 2 stacked minor third intervals. So that's a diminished chord. All the other ones, if you notice, if you have a minor in the bottom one, then the next one is a major interval. It's only 1 fret difference. And we'll be taking a look at that on the guitar. If I play a major third like that, what you find is the frets that you press down on these 2 strings is 1 fret apart. Now if I play a minor scale, which would go like this, those frets are now 2 frets apart. That's a minor third, and this is a major third. So therefore, when you're playing chords, here's the G major scale, goes like this. If I harmonize those with thirds, so I'm playing thirds along that scale. So these will go like this. That's a major, so it goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor. And then we're back at the G again. Now I can add the 5th to it. So this is 1st, 3rd, and 5th. it would go like this. So I'm playing like this. This is a different one because this one, notice here I'm playing, that's 2 frets apart, that's 2 frets apart. So this is the diminished triad. So you can practice that. If you just have to remember, basically, the 5th is always going to be 4 frets apart. So if you're using fingers like this, you just have to remember whether it's a major third or a minor third, and you can switch these 2 fingers like that. That's the way I'm doing it. And of course, this one I'm playing an open string. So it goes like this. So if you notice here when I get to this minor third, that's 2 frets apart, this is 1 fret apart. 2 frets, 1 fret. Here's where we do the major chords. So the 4th is like this. So 1 fret apart, 2 frets apart. There's the 5th. Here we're back to the minor chords again for the 6th. So 2 frets apart, 1 fret apart. Here's where you've got that different one, which is the diminished triad. 2 frets and 2 frets apart. Then we're back at the octave. So that's how you play triads along the 6th string. You could also do the same thing starting on the 5th string. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into 4-part harmony where we're adding a 7th on top of it. So I have a question for you. What is a 7th chord? What is a dominant 7th chord? What's a major 7th chord? What's a minor 7th chord? So these are all different types of 7ths, and those terms get thrown around all over the place. So it's important to know what these are. So if we take the C chord, that's our typical C chord on a guitar, and we play a scale. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, there's a 3rd, there's a 5th, there's the 6th, and there's the 7th. So if I play 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th there, that is actually called a C major 7th. All right. So what's this other thing called a dominant 7th? And what does it mean when you see written down C7? A C7 actually means dominant 7th. So let me show you where that comes from. If I play a scale in C, it goes like this. Right? Now if I start that same scale on the 5th note of the scale, which is actually G, notice there I'm using the same notes of the C scale, but so that's actually called a Mixolydian scale. A Mixolydian has a flattened 7th. So that's where if I played a G7 chord like that, which is a typical open string G7 chord, it's like that. I could play a major 7th, which would be like this. All right, so that's where the dominant 7th comes from. Now that we know that, we can start looking at where the 7th notes are, and all we have to do in every case is flatten each one of those notes. Now let's think a little bit about how we're going to find that 7th note a little bit more easier than having to go through all the scales every time. If we let's just play through the scale just for now. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a beat. So what we can do is to find a major 7th, we can find, like in this case, we have a C right there, and I can take that finger off there, and then here's a typical way that you play a C chord in the open position. And then to play a dominant 7th chord, we need to go down another half step. In this case, C is there on the 3rd string, and I can go down there to the B flat. or the A sharp, however you want to look at it. So that's how typically you would play a C, 7th chord. And notice you've got 1st, 3rd, and 7th right there, which those are it's a very useful little triangle of notes there. Here we've got our cage chords with the sevenths, the dominant sevenths over on the left side here, and the major sevenths over on the right. So let's first of all take a look at the dominant sevenths. These are the dominant 7th chords, and we'll see that if we pick out, that's our 7th right there, and we'll see this is the kind of shape that it makes. And then if we move to the next position with the A position, you'll see that the dominant 7th is right there, and this is the kind of shape that we get here. So these are actually pretty standard chords that you learn if you're first learning bar chords. This one is a little bit different. This is we're taking using the 7th right here and using that with the 3 notes across on the 5th fret right there. And here's another one that you could do, which is if you take the 7th right there, you take this triangle position, which we're going to see quite a bit as we go forward. And we've got the 5th and the root there, so this is a nice shape right here that you could use, but you would have to mute that 3rd string. And then going on to the E position, you got the 7th note right there, and there's your major 3rd. So that's another chord right there. And the D shape, in this case, it's this looks like a D7 shape that you would see at the open position. And then finally we're back to the C. This is not going to be such a big revelation to most people. Let's take a look at the C major 7th. Basically, you can take that C chord and just take off that 1st finger when you play this open chord here, and then you just play straight across, and that's your C major 7th. All standard stuff. And here is, if you're playing the A shape position, you play this little triangle thing here, and you put a bar across there. Or at least you could just play these 4 notes, and that will be fine too. So moving up into the G shape position, you have a couple of choices here. So here's one that you could take. You could just put a bar across here and play this note 2 frets higher. Then we're kind of moving into the E shape position. You've got this shape over here, and what you can do is you can take advantage of that. So this is just a diagonal. So this is kind of an easy one to remember. So you basically take in this very common 4-note chord that you would play like this, and then you just put in the major 7th on the top there. Another way is to take, a lot of times you just play these four notes without playing that root on the high E string. So that's another very common chord for a major 7th. And then if we're moving now into the D shape, right? So here's our D shape, and you just take that root note, go back a half step, and then that's a bar across there with a 3rd finger or 4th finger, however you want to do that, and then you put the root there. So that's another way to play that. And then you can take advantage again. This is playing the C shape, but playing it now. If you're up on the 12th fret, you need to put a bar across for that. You're playing those 2 notes, the root and the 3rd right there. I originally had a different exercise planned for this podcast, but here's a really cool one that you can do with the circle of fifths. You can see this is a gadget that I have lying around. The most important thing, as I was emphasizing earlier in the podcast, is that you can identify all of the root notes. What you do is you play the C, and then we know that shape is there, and then the next one will be here. So what you have to do is only play the root notes so that you can identify the root notes. So right now I'm going up to the E position. Now I'm going to the D position, back to the C-shaped position. So if you do that with a metronome, you put on a metronome like this, don't let yourself play more than 2 times on one string. So you go something like this. You can also go backwards. And then you go around and start from G. So you get the idea. So that is, I'm just going around at 60 right now, so you could do that with a metronome and just increase your speed of being able to recognize, using the cage shapes, recognize where the root notes are. In the next episode, I've got some interesting exercises too, but using backing tracks. So I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you didn't already. And we'll see you in the next episode.